Okay, welcome to part 2 of my Lightfall campaign review for Destiny 2. In part 1, we went through the first mission basically. The format for these videos is basically me playing through the campaign missions and mentioning at various points anything that I want to talk about relating to the experience of playing these missions. As previously mentioned, there are going to be spoilers, obviously for the Lightfall content and potentially for other content that's part of the current season. So if you don't like spoilers, then perhaps this is not the video for you. Okay, so at this stage we're now having a little chat with Osiris. And Osiris is basically laying it on thick about how urgent the quest is, and we've got to get to the Vale. Urgent, super important. He's really quite insufferable. And we go over to see Rohan, and as you can see here, Rohan appears to have dark skin pigmentation. And in the earlier cutscene where we saw Rohan, which you can see at the end of my previous video, part 1 of my review, in that cutscene he's got much lighter pigmentation to his skin. He does not look the same. And here I've shown you a comparison of how he looked in that cutscene and how he looks when you meet him here. So yeah, considerably different. Osiris, who has somewhat olive skin, clearly has darker colour skin than Rohan does in that initial cutscene, but now fully pigmented Rohan, clearly darker skinned than Osiris. And if we look over in this direction, you can see this is what the Neomuni look like. They are just basically disco lights, and that's because they spend all their time in the Matrix, or whatever you want to call it. They're in the Cloud Ark, they're in pods somewhere, and the entire city of Neomuna is utterly empty, like a big pretty business park over Christmas or something. And it's really rather disappointing because I was expecting Neomuna to be full of people, unlike most other locations. But I mean, at least the tower's got some people around. You know, the tower's kind of got a bit of life to it. I was expecting this whole city would be a bit like the tower, with stuff going on and a sense that it's a living place. And instead, all we get are disco lasers.
This city is impressive.
That's Neomuna for you. You should see it in the Cloud Ark.
Cloud Ark?
It's where all of Neomuna's citizens live virtually. I keep the city and their slumbering bodies safe.
We shouldn't get distracted. Securing the Vale before Callus is the most important task. Do not delay.
Okay, so we've now established that the Cloud Ark is where all the citizens actually live. But there aren't any people. Nimbus is the one that keeps them all safe while they're asleep inside the Matrix. Many people have suggested that, oh no, they're not normally asleep inside the Matrix, it's only because there's a war on. But that's not what Nimbus said. Basically suggested that they just spend all their time asleep in the virtual. We have to like kill all these Vex, who of course had nothing to do with Callus's forces, so are fighting Cabal and Vex at the same time, as is so often the case in Destiny 2, where there are two factions fighting each other, and rather than just letting them get on with it, we just plough right through the middle, killing everybody. So we've got places to be and things to do. You just have to work your way along, tempting as it is to place bets on which is going to win, the Vex or the Cabal. which will win? Vex or the Cabal? Take your bets. So, if Neomuni are always like in the virtual reality, what do they need these bars for? I mean, there's even drinks still standing on the bar. It really does suggest like everybody just all of a sudden just left. Not that they've been like sitting in their little cloud arc couches for however many eons. Because you don't need physical bars with physical drinks for people that are just like floating around as virtual ghosts. For that matter, it doesn't really make any sense for them to appear as like little disco-like ghosts in the real world when they're actually in a construct world. It would make sense if some people were in the cloud arc and some people were in reality, because then they'd still be able to communicate through some kind of interface. But the only people that are still in the real world are the cloud striders, really. So we've finally got the people that we need to kill to get the key card. That's what we were trying to do. We're trying to get a key card. So that's what the little things that look like motes represent, are the corrupted key cards. And you see them lying around on the floor. You have to run over them to pick them up. If you've never played Gambit, you probably don't know why I'm referring to them as looking like motes, but if you've ever played Gambit, you'll know what I'm talking about. For that matter, if you've ever been through the Prophecy Dungeon, you'll also know. So, after you've worked your way through Neomuna, following your quest objectives, and killing every one of the Shadow Legion code bearers, so that you can pick up their little motes that represent the sections of the code, you'll eventually come to the barrier.
The Shadow really did a number on this data. So much of it is corrupted.
That's different than the Vex corruption attempts I'm used to. Let's find ourselves a workaround.
So long as we don't waste any more time. Callus's forces are occupying enough of your city.
Interact with the machine in front of the barrier and your ghost will come out and attempt to perform some kind of unlocking procedure. Because of the fact that the code fragments that you found were pretty corrupted, you will have to take some time. There will be enemies to kill during this unlocking procedure. After the 3 waves are completed, Ghost complains that he's just feeling a little off. This will be significant later.
We'll be lucky if the witness doesn't have the veil in its possession already.
Are you always this much fun?
Fun is not my concern right now.
With the amount of power the veil has, I think it can hold its own a little longer. You're a hop, skip, and a couple rooftops away from the veil, Lightbearer.
Once you arrive in this new area, Ghost basically complains that some of our powers are gone as a result of the paracausal disruptor. Effectively, you'll notice that we still have all our abilities, but our super bar is completely drained and it won't fill back up again once we're in this suppression field that basically has drained our super and prevents us from getting it back. Now you need to be very careful when it comes to approaching the area where the quest marker tells you to walk. If you actually follow where the quest marker tells you to stand, you will be instantly squished by the Cabal drop pods. So instead I recommend you follow where I end up standing here on this video. You've got a little safe corner there where if you head up by one of those cover areas in the corner, you're safe from the 4 drop pods that land in that plaza, and then you can back off as soon as they've landed and start fighting the enemies. Once the wave has been completed, you get a little loot chest here, the sort of overlook spot, and then something weird happens.
That's a lot of Shadow Legion.
In this cutscene we see that basically the witness takes control of our ghost and uses it to have a video conference with Callus. And we just stand there like this is just fine. And we're just going to watch them having this conversation.
This doesn't feel right.
The veil?
It's worse than before. Much worse.
We look over at our ghost like, wait, why are you talking like the witness? Like, are we stupid or something?
The area around the veil. It is entombed, so it will take some time to break through and link the relay. Add to that the enemy presence.
Yes. We know they are here. A few of Soul's protectors cannot prevent fate. You will link the radio mast and see the veil destroyed. The final shape.
And that's it. Like, we just pick up Ghost and we're like super supportive. Hey, don't worry, we're in this together. Like, we just got hacked. My ghost was completely compromised. The witness was speaking through it and ignoring me. They were just having their secret conversation about their battle plans right in front of me, like I don't even matter at all. Like, oh, how are you getting on there, Callus? Oh well, the radio mask, blah blah blah. The veil, this, blah blah blah. Don't worry, I'll get it done soon. We'll hook them both up and good, because the final shape depends upon it. Like, What the heck? Am I chopped liver or something? And then picking up Ghost at the end like, there, don't worry, everything's fine. It's not fine. Everything's clearly not fine. And at this point in the story, it's become clear to everybody that the Ghost can be compromised at any moment by the witness at will, who can take control of my Ghost. This becomes very important later. But nothing is done, and nobody speaks of it, and nobody tries to do anything to prevent that happening again, which really does push credibility to the limit for me. I'm sorry, but it does. Like, why is everybody behaving like this is normal and fine? Now, when you emerge at the end of the cutscene, you may find that the area of Neomuna that you are sort of dropped out of the actual campaign into, because we are now actually just in open world, you may find that there is a terminal overload event going on there, and you may see quest markers appearing on your HUD for the terminal overload event. And the first time this happened to me, I wasn't aware of the fact that I'd actually been sort of boot out of the campaign and just into open world, and didn't really understand what was going on, and ended up being sort of sugar schlepped into this terminal overload event, when in actual fact there was not part of anything. I didn't have to be doing it at all, and under-leveled as I was at that point, because I'd literally just started playing the content, I found it quite challenging. So after cutscene, just be aware you are no longer in the campaign, and just go back to the Strider's Gate, where you can pick up the next part of the campaign.
If Callus uses whatever that radial thingy is and somehow destroys the veil...
Okay, so this part is basically a wrap-up. We've completed the campaign mission, and while I could try and string two together into one video, it's better if I try and keep these videos of a manageable length. Also, I feel like I ought to point out at this point that because there was a long period where I really wasn't producing videos at all, for various reasons, that most of the audio for this has been recorded a long time after the video was recorded. The video was actually recorded back in 2023, around about a year ago, in fact just over a year ago. So the power levels and the artifact mods represent that, in case you were wondering. So I hope you've found the video entertaining. If you have, please do consider hitting the like and subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content from me. I'm going to try and get into producing content in a slightly more regular manner, and basically sort of spin up the YouTube channel back to producing regular videos. You can no doubt tell from the style of the delivery of these videos that they are not scripted. I know most content creators have lovely scripted videos. My videos are not scripted, they're fairly off the cuff. I mean, my overall feel for the campaign to this point in it is Nimbus is utterly annoying, and I can't understand what the writers were doing in terms of writing their dialogue. I mean, we are dealing here with a war for the very survival of everyone that this individual holds dear and is sworn to protect. And then when they're talking about leaning back and doing a little trust fall, and they go, well, you might drop us, but hey, whatever, it'll be fun. Like, what do you mean it'll be fun? If the metaphor is referring to trusting us to help stop Callus and the Witness, because that will basically put a stop to everybody's existence in the whole galaxy. But, you know, if you stuff it up, hey, at least it was fun. Like, what kind of an attitude is that? Anyway, but yeah, Nimbus aside, the mission itself fairly straightforward. I don't know. I'm having difficulties with the story at this point. It was the veil's super mysterious. Everything's very hand wavy. Nothing seems to really make sense. Everybody seems to be taking the whole thing like it's a minor bump in the road, when actually the stakes have never been higher. So what's really going on with all the character writing here? And Osiris is just absolutely annoying. You come across a difficulty and somebody says, right, well, I'll try and do what I can to get around this difficulty. And he says, okay, fine, but don't take too long. You know, don't waste time. We've got things that have to be done now. And it's like, that's what we're trying to do, Osiris. We're trying to figure out how to get the mission done. But there's a little wrinkle here because the data's been corrupted. So someone's going to work to try and like unencrypt it so that the fact that it's corrupted doesn't matter. I know that's not how technology works. It doesn't matter. The point is, what we're saying here is, oh, we've got a problem. We'll try and come up with some solution to fix it. You're turning around and going, fine, but don't take too long coming up with the solution. We didn't know that we had to do it quickly. Like we were going to faff around and do something that didn't need doing. that's, I mean, so you've got Osiris being irritating, you've got Nimbus being just a complete doofus, you've got Callus calling up your ghost so he can talk to the witness, like the witness doesn't have his own mobile phone or something, and he's got to borrow your ghost to communicate with Callus. The whole thing's just like, do you know what I mean? It's a hot mess. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's somebody's put chopped tomato in my scrambled eggs here, and I'm getting a little bit annoyed. But hey, that's Lightfall. So, yep, see you next time.